operation don't kill myself here because of that power line up there. Don't electrocute myself. Good morning, everybody. It is the day before Christmas Eve. I'm gonna try to have this video out tomorrow. So if this is the last video before Christmas, Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm sure for many of you, Cranky Claus is gonna be coming down some chimneys here very, very soon. But before we get to Christmas, we've got a little mulching project we've got to take care of for one of my regulars. So let's take a look at what we got. All right, so we're behind the house over here, and it is getting windier and colder by the moment out here. We had that, all that rain come through. It literally rained for like 2 days straight, and it's been nasty out. So finally, sun come out, but the cold air and the wind is right behind all that rain. So I think when I walked out the door, it was about 55, and by this afternoon it's going to be like 30. So I want to get this little job knocked out. What we're doing here is they're going to be putting a fence up in the back of this house, and there's a ditch back there, so we've got to get to that ditch. Now we've got a bit of a complication here, is there's a road right here, and I've got to mulch this stuff down and this and this, and I can't do that right next to the road. So at least I don't think I'm going to be able to, unless I can maybe get the mulcher going this way. I might be able to do that. I may have to hand cut some of this out. We're gonna see. I'm gonna try not to, but we got to get all this cleaned up. So that's today's project. I'm gonna grind all this stuff down, and that's pretty much it. It shouldn't take too long. There's nothing really major in here. The only thing I've got to be very, very mindful of is there is a power line right there, and it runs pretty low. As you guys can see it right through there. There's two of them. There's the higher one. I'm not worried about that one, but there's a lower one from off that power pole right there. So we've got to be a little careful about that. I told him, I said, if there's anything hanging on that pole, you'll have to come get the power company to get it off. And he was cool with that. So we'll see. We'll make our way back in there. But I got Munchie out here warming up, and somebody asked me about the teeth sharpening, so I'm going to show you guys that really quick, and then we're going to get to grinding. Okay, so someone asked me about teeth sharpening in the last video. Said they had a loftness. So these are the teeth on Munchie, and these teeth are a little different than how you sharpen most other mulcher teeth. They actually sharpen from the underside, and if you can see that right, there's some dirt on there, but there's an angle right here that goes back, right? So the tooth kind of has like an angle that kind of comes down, and it's supposed to be at like a certain degree. I think it's like 30 some degrees that angle is supposed to be at. But what I have found is that as long as this edge is laid back and this edge is sharp here, it's gonna cut. It doesn't really have to be exact. Now these teeth do need to be sharpened. It's been about they've probably got 10 or 12 hours on it since the last sharpened, but for what we're doing today, they'll be fine. They'll still rip. Better than carbides at least. But these are not carbide, these are hardened steel. The carbide teeth, you do not sharpen those, but these hardened steel teeth are way better as far as their efficiency in cutting. But what you do, so I've got a 4-inch angle grinder. Well, you're supposed to run a 4-inch on this, but this is a 7-inch. I think this is a 30 grit. Now when these teeth are new, I'll use like a 60 grit, a 4-inch 60 grit, because they just kind of need to be touched up when they're new. But as they start to wear, and these are probably got about 50% wear on most of them, as they wear, it's harder to get a smaller disc up underneath here, because you've got this ring here that interferes with the bottom of the grinder here. So I use this bigger wheel to help me reach up in there. And I'm not going to sharpen all the teeth, but we'll sharpen a couple here. We'll do some in the middle, because that's where most of my cutting, that's where most of the work is done. So all I'm going to do, and this doesn't have to be exact on this, get some of this dirt off of here. Make sure the camera's not in the way. And you guys just got hit with a bunch of sparks. And then, you know, after you kind of grind it for a minute, you just kind of look up underneath the tooth and feel it. I just go by feel. If that feels sharp, then it's sharp. And I'm going to hit the middle here just a little bit more. And that's all I do. And I just go by feel. I'm like, okay, that's sharp. It's going to cut. It's fine. You don't ever, on these teeth, don't ever want to sharpen on the top, right? Now on the Fecons and the CMOF teeth, you sharpen those from the top. Now, and the reason why is because you see this tooth is flat across the top. Ow, I think I had a burr in me. This tooth is flat across the top. That's how it cuts. All right, so if this is your tree and the tooth is flat, it's coming across and it's trying to cut like that. If you sharpen the top, right, it's gonna make it roll. So when the tooth comes around, it's not biting into the material. It's gonna wanna roll off. And that's what kind of happens on this edge when you hit stone. So if you hit metal with these teeth, it tends to mangle them up pretty good. But if you hit like rock, like riprap or granite or something like that, it's almost like hitting a grindstone, and it takes this edge off right here, and it wears this top edge down, and it makes that tooth roll, and so they don't bite. So the tooth is supposed to come around like this and bite into and shave the material. But if that edge is gone, it's not going to bite. On the Fecon and the CMOF teeth, the tooth itself is rounded. The top of that tooth is rounded. So as it wears down. So then you actually have to grind this top to bring it back up so it'll bite. So that's how the CMOF and the Fecon teeth, so that's why you see John and those guys on the Fecon teeth that they grind from the top, because the tooth itself is rounded. So as it wears on the top, right, and it grinds that tooth down, then you grind it back up, and then it bites again. So it's just all how these teeth are designed. They're just a little bit different. So I'm gonna touch a few of them up. Nothing major. I don't think we really need them super sharp for what we're doing here. If I was gonna be out here grinding all day, I would sharpen all of them. But this is probably gonna be a pretty quick little job. So I'm gonna touch a few of the ones in the middle up so they'll cut pretty good, and we'll get to grinding. Hopefully that answers everybody's questions about how these teeth are sharpened. And then when, you know, if you've seen my channel, you see me replace these teeth. You just unbolt them from the top here, 2 bolts, take it out. And this part here, the holder itself is not threaded. There's no thread in here. The tooth itself is threaded. So the bolt is only holding the tooth to this holder. There's no thread in here. So if you ever can't get one of these teeth out, you can cut it out, and you're not having to worry about getting anything out of the middle of this. So if you cut it, the tooth's just gonna fall away, and then this will be, you know, good to go. So hopefully that answers everybody's questions about teeth. we're done. Thank goodness. This job was a bit of a challenge, I'm not gonna lie. Luckily, I was like, Operation Don't Kill Myself here because of that power line up there. Don't electrocute myself. But yeah, got all that done. There was a couple things kind of hung up on it, but not too bad. I was able to kind of disentangle it very gently. But yeah, all that worked out well. It looks good. And the main thing in here is just so get this cleared out so the fence guys have access to come back here and do whatever it is they're gonna do. There's a little bit of mulch in this ditch, but we just got 3 inches of rain and there wasn't a drop of water in that ditch. The ditch out there and the one out in front of the house are chock full of water. There's not a drop of water in that ditch. It's completely dry. So it might have a little mulch in it, but I don't think it's carrying any water anyway, so I don't think it really matters. And it's stopped up on the end down there due to a dirt mound that I had nothing to do with. So I don't think this ditch having a little bit of mulch in it's the biggest deal. This whole area is going to have to be, you know, landscaped out, you know, to do something with, either to get grass or make it a pine straw bed or whatever they're going to do after they put the fence up. So the good news is, you know, all that stuff is gone and they can get access in here to do the fence work. This job took me right at 4 hours, and I bid the guy, he's one of my regulars, I told him it'd be a 4-hour minimum, and I got it done dead on at 4 hours. So I was pretty happy with that. There was a lot more handwork in here than what I originally expected there to be. But that corner up there was a little bit more than what I expected, so I kind of had to, it was all just a tangled mess, so I had to kind of cut it and drag it out of there by hand, and then make a mulch pile, grind it down, make another mulch pile, grind it down. This through here went pretty good, and then I had to make some more mulch piles down there in that corner to get all that ground up. But yeah, this turned out well. Got all this stuff in the front down, little pine trees and stuff. So definitely not a finished product by any means. This does need some fine tuning, but the main goal in here was to get all this just mulched down. The quality of the mulch doesn't really matter because it's probably all getting scraped and cleaned up out of here anyway eventually. It just, all that vegetation just needed to be out of the way. So it's gone, and now we can get a fence in here, or the owner can. So that is that. Perfect job for these. I mean, this machine is a backyard, I mean, that's what it's made to do, is these little backyards for fence lines and stuff. I have done so many projects with this setup, doing jobs just like this, where, you know, if a tree company were to come out here, that's like a whole day with guys out here with saws. It's 4 guys, you know, a tree thing, whatever, you know, a chipper, you know, it's a whole ordeal. And they're, you know, they're gonna have to take everything out to the street probably if they can't chip it up back here. It's just, the only downfall that this thing had was, you know, being next to the street right there, I had to be very careful not to, you know, I had to make those mulch piles and not throw anything out into the road. You know, we didn't do any of that, and had to be careful around that power line. So a little handwork in here, but still got it done. But yeah, last job of the week, and I'm gonna take some time off. All right, everybody, I hope all of you out there in YouTube land have a great Christmas and a happy New Year. I've got a few projects coming up, just a couple little things, but I'm gonna try to spend from like Christmas to about New Year's doing some stuff out at the farm with Kelly. Deer season ends on New Year's, and I don't think we're gonna do much more hunting this year, or Kelly's not, so we're gonna do some projects out there. I'm hoping to have the skid steer back. It's in the shop again. The last mowing job I did, where we cleaned up all that debris, the machine started off tracking towards the end of that job to the left, and it was doing it forward and reverse. So I called Chris down at CCE, and he told me to bring it down there and have them take a look at it. So if anything's wrong with it, luckily it'll be covered under warranty. Fingers crossed that there's nothing wrong with it. I know that they were looking at it yesterday, but I don't know, I haven't heard anything back yet. Probably won't today. I know they were only working half a day, and it's after lunch now, so maybe we'll get it back next week and I can get it out on the farm. We can do, you know, I've still got the quick attach brush cutter. Maybe we can do some stuff with that thing I'd really like to get out there and kind of put it, you know, into some heavy brush and let that thing kick some butt. But fingers crossed we can get that back. But I've got some stuff out there for Munchie as well, little Munchie. So we got stuff coming up. I'm hoping to get a bunch of stuff done out at the farm, projects, cool stuff. I don't know, we'll have some fun. But I do have maybe 1 or 2 other little projects. We'll do some mowing stuff that we've got to knock out. I think 2 mowing projects for some clients. So I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful Christmas. It's getting colder by the minute here. I'm ready to get home. All this cold air coming down right here before Christmas. You know, everybody was asking Jack Frost for snow, but I think down here in the south, best he could do was freezing cold. So no white Christmas, but a freezing cold one. But I hope you guys have a great holiday. I appreciate all the support for the channel. A lot more stuff to come. Stay tuned, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.